Greetings, beloved. I'm your seasoned Bible teacher, George Fluitt. I'm coming to you from Monroe, Louisiana, the United States of America. This is YouTube number 2003. Our topic today is no more anxiety. Have you ever been anxious? I've been anxious a lot of times. This message will be one I hope that you'll bring in focus and be able to recall very often because it's something you can use. Our text today is Philippians 4:6. I'd like to read that scripture to you. Be anxious for nothing. Say that with me. Be anxious for nothing. Say it again. Don't be anxious. Don't worry. But in everything by prayer and supplication, let your request be made known unto God. You'll receive a peace that surpasses all understanding. But what's the remedy for this thing? And everything by prayer and supplication. So when you're tempted to worry, do you go to the scripture and say, I will not be anxious? You need the peace of God which surpasses all understanding. It will guard your hearts and your minds through Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know about you, but a lot of times in my life, I've had the opportunity to, well, let me put it this way. My life was on the line. It's a time to worry, you know. I had a small airplane years ago, and I was out over one of the local lakes in Monroe, Louisiana, and got into a tailspin. Well, I'd never been trained. I was a new pilot, and that airplane fell from 4,000 feet to 3,000, 1,000 feet straight down in a full power tailspin. That means I had no control. And not being trained what to do with that specific problem of worry, I didn't have time to worry. It was all over with before I knew what was happening. And I just raised my hands like that over the controls of the airplane. And it's strange thinking back. I could remember when this was happening, I could see through the windshield of the airplane a wannabe newspaper article with the headlines that said 2 killed in area crash. Now that's enough to make you worry right there, because it seems like Providence had me headed in the wrong direction. I was falling 1,000 feet, non-trained, and I took my hands off the steering of the airplane, and all of a sudden it pulled out. It was an act of God, I believe, with everything in me. Being a son of God, I had the benefit of the Lord taking hold of the controls. So when you worry, do you turn loose of the controls? Sometimes you need to let God have his way. Well, let's put it this way. All the time, you need to let God have his way. So that full power tailspin was reminding me of an event that took place on a ski trip years and years ago in Chamonix, France, right off the Switzerland border. It's an area of great mountains, whereas your highest ski areas in the States is a vertical of 3,000 feet. This is 9,000 feet. This is some sure enough mountains. And my son-in-law were on a vacation there. So we went up the Chamonix Valley. There's 13 different ski areas in that area. And we went to the supreme one. Went up in a big gondola. A lot of us were in that gondola. And we went up and up and up and up the mountain and reached the top. And I got out of the gondola and put my skis on, and there was a Frenchman sitting there, and I don't guess he understood what I was saying. I desired not to go where the moguls were, the big bump skiing over to my left, but I wanted to go to the right under the rope that said do not enter and go into powder snow and ski. And unknowing to me, it was the wrong thing to do, because the more I skied down, it got steeper and steeper and steeper. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, if my edges don't hold me down, I'm gonna go with an avalanche. And sure enough, just as I had worried, it happened. Down I went. Now it was just white snow everywhere. I lost my skis, had snow all down my clothing, and about to freeze, and it was an experience, a worry. But now I didn't have much time to worry. You know, sometimes when you need to pay a bill or something you can't pay, you've got lots of time to worry. So what are we talking about today? I'm wanting you to get this in your core being. I will not be anxious. I will not worry. You just like I am, you're going to have opportunities to know this scripture and to stand on it. And you know what it'll do? It'll give you peace that surpasses all understanding by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. And that's why God says that's the remedy for worry. And then all of a sudden you get this peace that comes over you. So paying bills or whatever your problem may be, this is the way to go. I think about Moses in the Red Sea when he was standing there with a whole nation of Israel behind him trying to escape the Egyptians. And he's worried, I'm sure, because he's got a sea in front of him and Pharaoh's army coming back behind him. And the Lord, in my way of thinking, was saying to Moses, Moses, what you got in your hand? He said, Lord, I got a rod. He said, well, use the rod and make a declaration that you're going to go over, praise God. And all of a sudden that Red Sea opened. God made a way where there was no way. So there's no time to be anxious. So what I'm saying to you is, beloved, practice Philippians 4:6. Get that down in your core being, because you're going to have opportunities to use this scripture. So what's the bottom line of everything I've said today? Be not anxious for any reason. Be at peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding. Well, I hope you got the message today, because this is the bottom line. See you next time. Bye-bye.